Nothing's more difficult than navigating adolescence. Talk to me in the 6th grade, but we can't have time for that right now. Except for doing so in an atmosphere that forces one to hide or feel shame about their identity. Pioneering California educator Virginia Uribe, her mission was to eradicate the shame, developing Project 10, the nation's first school-based dropout prevention program for LGBTQ students. This year's Virginia Uribe Award for Creative Leadership in Human Rights goes to an organization that carries the torch and leads the way out of the darkness of intolerance towards the light of understanding, the Wisconsin-based GSAFE. GSAFE creates safe spaces for LGBTQ students to live in their truth and achieve academic excellence. 50 years ago, the Stonewall Uprising jump-started a revolution of equality. GSAFE's bringing that same revolutionary activism to our schools' hallways. Here's their story.
GSAFE is a statewide organization here in Wisconsin. We do work with educators, we do work with students as well as families with the goal of creating schools that are places where our LGBTQ youth aren't just surviving but also thriving and actually having successful school careers. We're really focused on student leadership development, which often takes the form of working with GSAs, gay straight alliances. We also do work here in Madison with primarily students of color who are LGBT through our Foundations of Leadership class. We want to really provide a chance for our students to see themselves in the classroom both through the curriculum and then also give them a chance to actually have a teacher who's a person of color, who's LGBT.
This is kind of your opportunity to reflect about what are your strengths and what are your areas of growth.
We do professional training across the state, and we actually partner with our State Department of Public Instruction as well as our statewide teachers union and provide that professional development. Some of the work that we've been doing since about 2005 is working with local school districts to actually modernize their non-discrimination policy to particularly include protections for transgender and non-binary students. So when we started in 2005, there were 0 school districts in Wisconsin that had local protections. Now we have over half of Wisconsin's students attending school districts where they're actually protected on the basis of gender identity and gender expression. My co-director, Ali Muldrow, is actually running for the Madison School Board, and today is actually election day, and all signs point towards a victory, so not jinxing it. Having Ali on the school board really advances GSAFE's focus, particularly on thinking about what are the needs of students of color, LGBT students of color.
I really like to think of myself as a little old lady who can look back and tell folks there was a time in my community where it was really hard to go to school and be a kid of color, or be a member of the LGBTQ community, or be a person with disabilities, and me and the people I love got together and we did something to change that.
Ali has 70% of the vote.
Thank you for fighting for every single child's right to learn.
Accepting this year's Virginia Uribe Award for Creative Leadership in Human Rights, welcome the co-director of GSAFE, Brian Juchems.
Hello and good evening. My name is Brian J., also known as Mama J, if you feel warmth and affection towards me. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'd like to take just 5 seconds for you to introduce yourself and your pronouns to somebody next to you. Go ahead and do that right now. Thank you, that was beautiful. So I think people are still doing it. But so on behalf of my GSAFE board and colleagues, thank you, NEA, for this recognition. Thanks also to the Wisconsin Education Association Council President Duff Martin and member Eben Grisby for championing our nomination and for your leadership. This past year, WEAC called upon all Wisconsin school districts to finally adopt policies that protect our non-binary and transgender students and educators, essentially telling them that it was time to get with the program. I also want to say special thanks to the students and educators who have partnered with GSAFE for nearly 25 years to move Wisconsin forward for queer and transgender youth. Really, this award is for you. I became aware of Virginia Uribe's work through Project 10 when I was just out of undergrad in rural Iowa in the early to mid-90s. Because I had not seen my identity as a gay man positively reflected in the school setting up until that point, I had opted to forego a career in education, thinking there was no place for me. Having learned of her pioneering work, however, and having caught just the smallest glimpse of what was possible, I could not unsee it. It helped spark a lifelong passion to work alongside education, helping all members of the school community feel and use their power to create safer, more inclusive environments. Like you, I was saddened to learn of Dr. Uribe's recent passing. I am deeply honored to be accepting this award in her name, this year especially. Let's make sure her legacy shines brightly by renewing our commitment to make the unseen seen, and to ensure all students see themselves reflected in each and every one of our classrooms every day. Let's inspire the next generation to say yes to careers in public education. And for the future of our queer and transgender students and colleagues, let's always move forward, never backwards. Thank you so much.